This next video was recorded in an unknown area at a late hour in the night. Two hooded, suspicious-looking individuals, one wearing a mask, approach a man's front door, and when he answers, the woman pretends that her car broke down and she needs to borrow a phone.
Hello, do y'all have a phone I can use? My car broke down, and y'all's the only one that got a light on.
We don't.
You don't?
Sorry.
The man's first mistake is opening the door at this hour to two hooded individuals, being that his Ring camera would have allowed him to check who's at the door before opening it. Instead of opening the door, if he felt the need to respond to the people at his front door, he could have and should have used the voice feature on his Ring device to ask who they were and what they need. Instead, the man opens the door, and while admittedly he knew better than to agree to let them use a phone,
We don't.
You don't?
Sorry.
opening the door in the first place was a mistake, as the man in the yellow hoodie and mask took the opportunity to rush the door with a gun after taking one last look to the right to check for witnesses. Luckily, the homeowner slammed the door shut just in time, and the two would-be assailants fled the scene. In this case, the homeowner saved himself from robbery and danger just by the skin of his teeth, and hopefully learned to check who's at his door before answering. It's on the porch. You can tell something is off by his nervous, almost twitchy behavior. It appears the man could possibly be on meth or some other hard drug. When the homeowner answers through the closed door, the man clearly has a hard time figuring out how to identify himself. And when his face gets close to the camera, you can see how dilated his pupils are, confirming he's definitely under the influence of drugs.
How can I help you?
This is, my name is James.
When the homeowner asks who he's looking for, pay attention to the name he gives.
What are you looking for?
Sosa.
Who?
Sammy?
The first name he gives is Sosa, and then Sammy. Sammy Sosa, like the baseball player. It might have been the first name he could think of while trying to come up with a fake friend he was looking for.
What's your name?
James.
And who are you looking for?
No, a friend of mine.
No friend of yours lives here, buddy. And I got a Glock over here ready for you. So if you don't get the fuck off my porch, I'm gonna unload it on your fucking face. Get the fuck off my porch.
Alright.
The reason why he was trying to get into the house is anybody's guess, which is perhaps the scariest part of situations like this. The homeowner handled it perfectly by communicating through the door before opening it, and after catching on to the man's suspicious behavior, he made the man on his porch aware of the fact that he had a gun and was willing to use it. Even if he didn't actually have a gun, the threat was still an effective way to get the man away from his front door. In the video, we see in the dead of night a masked, young-looking man approach the front door of a house with a gun in his hand, stand there for only a few seconds, clearly contemplating what he was about to do, then backing out probably in fear and leaving. The owner of the house didn't know who this was, but this was probably a person working up to an armed robbery, possibly having his sights specifically on this house. Of course, without all the details, that's just speculation, and there could be a whole lot of other explanations as to what's going on here. However, regardless, the chances of this guy or any other person with a gun coming back shouldn't be taken lightly, and that kind of footage should be submitted to the police immediately. This was the footage he found after seeing the notifications from his Ring doorbell from the night before. In the video are 3, maybe 4 young men trespassing on his property, two of them climbing the roof, while the other of the three who were visible, whispering to one or more people out of view of the camera. Luckily, this was a cold night and all the windows in the house were closed, because it was clear they were trying to burglarize the house when scratch marks were found on two of the upstairs windows, as if someone was attempting to lift them open. Given that there were 3 or 4 of them, they could have posed a serious threat if they were to have entered the home. After viewing the video, the viewer made sure to keep his windows all locked the following nights, and a few nights later, he woke up to the sound of someone attempting to open a downstairs window. If you've seen any of my other videos about doorbell camera footage, then you'd know the importance of checking your surroundings before unlocking and opening your door, especially depending on the area in which you live. In this video taken by the Ring doorbell camera of TikToker Jojo Ramirez, you see just how close she and her child were from danger, and how the only thing between her and a creepy man was her front door, which she locked with only seconds to spare. "Who is that? Get out of here."
Who is that? Get out of here!
She then exclaims to her son, "There's a guy outside, look."
There's a guy outside! Look!
As Jojo shouts for him to leave, he backs up, but boldly continues firmly standing in front of the door with his haunting blank expression, not saying a word. The man came out of nowhere so quickly that it could be that he was following them for a while, or perhaps was waiting for them to return. It's anybody's guess what would have happened if the door wasn't locked in time, but a pretty strong assumption would be the man was after Daniel, Jojo's young son. In another clip, he's seen scrawling on the lens with a marker to no effect. And in these instances, whacking the device with a hammer or broom handle. The reason behind the man's attacks on his neighbor's property are unknown. Over the past 6 months, Groves has been convicted of 3 charges of harassment against Persad, and has been put on a curfew and ordered to pay compensation for damages to Persad's property. Stephen Persad's niece is terrified for her uncle, having stated this is affecting her mental health, and she's scared that Groves may have intentions to harm her uncle. The restraining order that was put into place is clearly having no effect, as Groves is still harassing Persad. On top of the restraining order, Groves has been put on an electric tag for the better part of a year, and was also ordered 20 weeks of rehabilitation. Police don't seem to be able or willing to do anything more to help, considering this has already been taken to court, and Groves has been convicted multiple times, leaving Persad in a very vulnerable spot. The crazy can be seen in this man's eyes, and it's understandable for Persad and his niece to be losing sleep over this, as this is a clearly dangerous, unstable man who may escalate from just attacking Persad's property to actually attacking him,